Okay. So the point is the big data by itself. I will share the full page. So the point is the big data by itself, by all the characteristics, all the volume, veracity, and then variety and all, will not add value to the industry unless you make something out of it. So how do you extract value from big data is what is all analytics is about. So that is the connection between big data and the analytics. Now look at the screen. Now we will like to go into what is analytics. This is the simplest definition of analytics which you can ever find. Analytics is the discovery, interpretation, and communication of meaningful patterns in data and the process of applying those patterns towards effective decision making. Right? Now, one may ask me, so this is what we have been doing all these years, all of our life we have been doing only this. But there are two important differences of what we are doing now and what we have been doing all this. Number one, the magnitude of the data. We have certainly more data, more variety of data, more volume of data, so that it basically changes the game. When compared to 5 years back, the way you do data interpretation is different from the way you do data interpretation. In other words, the base itself has changed now. Now, what is the second one? Second one is we also have been drawing meaningful patterns of the data. Who are our customers? What were they buying? Who are our competitors? And we studied all this. We know all the patterns in our business. Today now, in data analytics, why are they emphasizing of meaningful patterns in data? Because of the volume and variety of this data that the big data has given us, it is humanly impossible with the traditional tools like business BI tools to make meaningful patterns in it. That is the difference between what you have been doing and now what you will do in future. In other words, I'll go back to again. Analytics is the discovery, interpretation, and communication of meaningful patterns in data and the process of applying those patterns towards effective decision making. Simply put, analytics should lead to better informed decision making. That is all. It involves data to research potential trends, to analyze effects of certain decisions or events, or to evaluate the performance of a given tool or a scenario. Now let us look at the second one. Now let us look at what is business analytics. Business analytics is the process of discovering, interpreting, communicating significant patterns in data using tools to empower your entire organization. So please remember, I want to emphasize the word entire organization. Previously, it was limited to marketing, it was limited to finance, it was limited to production. Now, the big data and the data analysts are covering every part of the organization, including the HR part of it. I want to share one experience which I had yesterday. Professor of HR in Narsee Monjee, Bombay, he called me up and asked me, Swaroop, I am teaching organizational behavior in Narsee Monjee. Now, I want you to merge or to interface analytics part of with the organization. So previously, HR analytics was only concerning recruitment, compensation and benefits, training and development, performance management, and talent management. So these are the 5 processes we used to interface the analytics. Today, A professor of a leading institute in India asked me, there is a tremendous potential for analytics in behavior. Can you beat it? So I told her, ma'am, today human behavior is digitized. I will talk of a tool IBM has developed 1 year back. IBM has a tool which very few companies can afford. It's a multi-million dollar tool. What they do is they fix the trigger points in human behavior and they record the trigger points, they digitize the trigger points, they program it and feed it into their analytics tool. The analytics tool has told 3 months back that these are the people who are likely to resign from your company. How did they manage to do that? They digitize the behavior.
Swarup, can you repeat last 1 minute? You were frozen at least. Yeah, we could not hear you for last 1 minute.
Now, human behavior is digitized. Now we are all used to PM4 behavior being digitized. You will get all parameters in the DCS. Like you get all parameters in the DCS of all the specifications. Your human specifications are what is your behavior, how do you behave in a meeting, what are your characteristic words, what words have meaning, and they make an artificial AI picture of yourself and they make a trigger point and they said out of those trigger points the IBM has predicted these are the 7 people in your IT team who are likely to resign in the next 6 months. And of it, 4 people have resigned. So in other words, what I'm trying to tell you is, whatever that can be observed can be measured. No, gone is the saying, whatever gets measured gets managed. Now today, the new adage is, whatever that you can observe, you can digitize it and you can measure. That is the phenomenal prospect and opportunity of business. So forget only in the area of marketing, finance, or production, but it is touching many areas. And IMRB in Bangalore, they're doing tremendous work. If you go, the amount of analytics that they're doing on human behavior is much farther than what HR is doing. So now let us look at it. Let me go to get ahead with it. Now, so this is what it is: data, instincts, and results. Those who are successful with analytics ignore their instincts and choose their results based on what the data is. Okay. Now, please don't get me wrong. I'm not at all saying the human brain is not important. The human instincts are not important. I'm not saying that. Okay. What all I'm saying is,
only I am feeling the problem, or others are also feeling the problem? Surya?
yes, sir.
Pradeep, you're only feeling the problem.
Pardon?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Maybe
Yeah, carry on,
Pradeep,
sir.
you can switch off the video.
Okay.
If the data speed is highway is not good. Speed.
Yeah. Carry on, Swarup, carry on.
There are potholes on the information highway. So this is what it is. I am not undermining the role of instincts. I'm not saying that. But please remember, with big data, with analytics, those who are successful with analytics ignore their instincts and choose their results based on what the data reveals. Let us look at the second one. Okay. Okay. And these are the analytic fundamentals. Data in and itself is meaningless. If we don't leverage all the technology, then there is no use in that. We are effectively able to speak without data and have it answers. I want to take you to a quotation which says, now, look at this quotation. We now live in a data-driven economy. Now, another adage that comes to us is, data is the new oil, they say. Okay, now the price of oil, even though it is slowly rising now, but if you look at the real value of oil, it has come down so much. Now, the engine of growth and the fuel for growth in today's worldwide economy is the data. That is why they say we now live in a data-driven economy. Now, let us look at this. If you read this slide, it says, ask the right question. Whenever you want to do data analytics, first one is not going and finding out which data tool should I use. That is not the way. That is putting the cart before the horse. First step is ask the right question. So what is the right question? The right question is, what is my business problem? Please always find out. Don't waste your time on collecting data and observing meaningful patterns and applying insights and taking informed decisions which does not have business impact. So do not work on a data project which does not have impact on the bottom line. So that is important. So the right question is, if my answer to my question, if the solution to the problem that I solve it through data analytics increases the bottom line of the company, it has a business imperative, then that is the right question. So when your question is right, then your data selection will be right. See the second step? Right question, then data selection. You know, you cannot do data analytics without data sets. How do you prepare a data set? Data set is through data selection. So what kind of data should I select? I'll give you a small example. The question is asking the right question. Why are my paper makers leaving the company? That is the question. Why there is so much of attrition in my paper maker?
There is a echo, sir. I'm muting. Yeah, sir. Now you can carry on, please.
Right. So the right question is, why are my paper makers leaving my company? Why my rejects are so heavy in my shop floor? Why my A-class customers are leaving me? These are the questions which are the right questions. Then, if your question is right, then you will go for data selection. You will collect data. How many people have resigned last 5 years? What are their names? What are their qualifications? And how many years did they work in the company? How many promotions did they receive in the company? These are all the right fields of data to be selected. Then you do data cleaning. Now, what is data cleaning? Now, in data analytics, in data world, you constantly hear these buzzwords. Sir, so-and-so is a data scientist, so-and-so is a data analyst. Now, if you ask me, Harvard Business Review last issue, they have given figures. The average salary for a data scientist in US is $168,000. It is the highest. Now, what does the data scientist do? Data scientist is employed in the IT industry. He will collect the data. He will clean the data. He will organize the data. He will make data talk to each other, different varieties of data, and he will make a data set and present it to the functional manager. He may give it to regarding customers, he may give it to the marketing manager. Regarding finances, he may give it to the finance manager. Regarding resignations or attrition, he may give it to the HR manager. So that is what they do. So that is the third step called data cleaning. After data cleaning, the next step is called data analysis. So that is what all data analysts will do. Okay. Now, as I told you previously, the data analysts have their job cut out today because there are n number of tools in the world today which have got good tools, and it is very life has been made very easy. I feel today the challenge is data selection and data cleaning rather than data analysis. And then once you do data analysis to Tableau, data visualization to Tableau, then you will get into actionable. Actionable insights will lead to good business decisions, and good business decisions will lead to profits. So in other words, look at the slide. Every analytical journey starts with a relevant business question or a problem. That is the starting point for all analytics. Look at this. Without data, you are just another person with an opinion. Okay. Now, we find it in our daily lives. You go and tell something, you make a presentation, right? And then you make a conclusion. So the CEO and the senior management will always ask you, how sure is your foundation? Okay. Or is it just your opinion? Or is it your instinct? Or is it born out of your experience? But with analytics, this is very, very true. Without data, you are just another person with an opinion. But with analytics, if you show to the top management or to your departmental head that this is what is the analysis I have done, and this is the visualization, I have used Tableau and shown this visualization, very few people can doubt you. The only thing they can do is they can doubt the sources or veracity of your data. In other words, we are going back to the same problem. In India, in data analytics, you find more problem with collecting data and integrity of the data than analytical tools. Okay. Now, let us look. I'll take another 10 minutes and finish it off. Then metrics and analytics. So what is a metric and what is versus analytics? People always confuse themselves between a metric and an analytic. So let us look at it. You really can't have actionable analytics without well-designed metrics. In other words, to do analytics, you should have good, well-defined metrics. So what are they? See the difference between metrics and analytics. The metric is a transactional reporting, whereas an analytics is a strategic analysis. See the difference between transactional and strategic. So I will say, sir, in this last 1 year, about 6% of my paper makers have resigned from the company. That is a transactional report. Or I will say, my value-added product revenue has come down by 20% last year. That is a transactional report. Whereas in analytics, you do a strategic analysis. So what do you mean by strategic analysis? There will be a time continuum and they will apply data. You apply analytical tools. You go deeper, find out what is the pattern there. Second one, provides a standard and tangible system of measurement. Under what? Metrics. If I say attrition, in metric, attrition is a metric. So what is a formula for attrition metric? Number of people who left the company divided by the number of people who are working in the company into 100. So in metric, you always have a tangible system of measurement. But look at analytics. Analytics provides a systematic analysis of data or statistics to gain insight. There is a system behind it, and the system is provided by the visualization tools. Third one, measure single data point. So that is important. Metric is always a camera with a snapshot. But analytics connects multiple data points. It is an analysis over a continuum. And analytics is also, if metrics is a camera, SLR camera, digital camera, analytics is a video camera. Then metrics provides quantitative counts and information. Analytics provides systematic computational analysis of data and statistics. That is why not many people are adept unless they have the knowledge of mathematics and statistics. But don't get discouraged. People who don't have the background of mathematics and statistics, today's analytical tools, including the tool of Excel, will give you all this at the touch of a fingertip. Don't worry about how to calculate standard deviation, okay, and how to calculate how to do the logistic regression. Don't worry about it. You may not know it, but analytical tools will do it for you. Don't get discouraged. Then metrics guides tactics and operations. Please remember, what is my today's shift? What should I do in the second shift? Okay, what are my operations? How do I guide my operation? Whereas analytics will give you a bird's eye view. It drives strategy and alignment. Alignment with what? Alignment with the corporate goals, and what is your strategy, and it will give you that stuff. Because it is not only quantitative method, it will be better positioned to make strategy because you have the knowledge of patterns. You will discern certain patterns of the data you could not discern yesterday. Okay, and then it will give you time to formulate that strategy for future and align your operations. Then metrics states the past and the present, whereas analytics states the past, present, and predicts the future. Then provides outputs of counts and rates, whereas analytics provides outputs of patterns and trends. So see the difference. These two words will make you understand everything. A metric is a count, but an analytics is a pattern. So that is the fundamental difference. Now see the chain. I have metrics. My metrics will lead me to analytics. My analytics through tools will lead me to insights. In insights, not only the insights that are thrown up from the data, but you will also bring your own insights by virtue of your experience. Then all this will combined will lead to better informed. This is the value chain. So let us look at quickly. I have another 7 minutes. I'll finish it off. Now let us look at it. The basic, the foundational step of analytics is called operational. Operational analytics, descriptive analytics, diagnostic analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. Now look at the operational analytics. What is your production today? How many people have reported to shift today? And what are the inputs that you have got for the shift today? These are all operational. You can also do analytics on operational matters. Go a step further. From operational, you go to descriptive. In other words, if you are doing it shift-wise, it becomes operational. But if you do it over a period of time, the time continuum, and apply insights, then it will become descriptive analysis. Now, many people, including companies like ITC, we not only do operational, we go much higher to descriptive analytics. The next stage is called diagnostic analytics. So what is diagnostic analytics? My market share is coming down. So this is the big data that I have covered. I observed the pattern. I had here, took out the hidden patterns. I apply the tools. I apply Python. I apply the rules of Mindbender, all these tools. And then I apply the diagnostic tools as to what is the problem. And then the next level of analytics is a much higher level called predictive analytics. So if blanket damage is the diagnostics conclusion that I have made, and blanket damage is happening because of the contraries, and that is the diagnostic analytics that has revealed it, then the next stage is called predictive. So because of the vast amounts of data that you churn and import it into your analytical tool, it will give you, if these are the conditions, please be ready for a paper break. Please be ready for a blanket damage. Please be ready for 2% drop in your value added project. Please be ready for reduction in your working capital. Please be ready for 5% more attrition. So that is called predictive analytics. And we don't stop it there. Very few companies are doing it worldwide, but I must tell you, this is also catching up very fast, which is called prescriptive analytics. So what is prescriptive analytics? The prescriptive analytics is, this is what is happening. I not only predict, I also prescribe, this is what you should do. To solve your business problem, to solve the set of imperatives that are before you, the analytics will throw out the prescriptive solutions by itself. So this is, in essence, the stages of maturity in data analysis: operational, descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive. Now, let us look at what are the challenges. What do challenges like ITC company faces in executing this analytics? Okay. Let us look at the second one. One is reporting challenges. The other one is analytics challenges, executing challenges, data quality. As I have told you, many organizations have a problem of data quality. We don't have uniform data quality. A lot of time is wasted by data scientists to make the data ready to be imported into the analytical tool. Second one, metrics. Even the broad metrics in marketing, broad metrics in finance, broad metrics in production, broad metrics in HR are all well known, but people down the line are not educated reasonably enough as to what should be the metrics. Because remember this previous slide, without good metrics, you cannot do actionable analysis. So that is it. Third one is the technology. There is many organizations cannot afford this technology. The tools are very cheap, very cost effective. I'm not talking about the technology of the tools, but I'm talking about the technology of the data preparation. You need a lot of money to recruit these data scientists and enable them to collect vast amounts of data. You incur a lot of cloud expenditure to make the data ready. Fourth one, capability. Our human resources, do I have the capability, one, to report? Do I have the capability to execute the analytics? So this is a serious shortage in most of the companies. In most of the companies I found, marketing department is able to do it a lot better than production and finance and HR. So this is a challenge that we have got it today. So now let us look at this slide, data accuracy and data integrity. So you have a reporting, you have data capture, you have time, you have subjectivity, and you have perfection. This is the ladder of data, and what are the various failure points you can have. So organizations should be very, very careful about accuracy of their data, about how they capture the data, and at what periodicity and what timing is important, and then don't introduce subjectivity into the data and make the data perfect. Then I want to just tell you, there are a lot of data analytical tools. Number one is R programming, but please remember, you need to be good at 10th or 12th class mathematics to learn this R programming, not a rocket science. It is on an application of mine, but this is the currently most important and sought after R program. If you want to be a good data scientist, some data analyst, an exposure in R programming will help. Then this is what is important for all our managers in Bhadrachalam and in PSPD. Please remember, data Tableau public does not demand knowledge of mathematics, does not demand knowledge of statistics. People in HR, people in commercial, people in service function can also use this on their job so that they will find value out of this Tableau. So Tableau is next to R programming. People use Tableau. Most of the data analytics is done by, and Tableau not only will do the analytics part of it, Tableau is a great instrument for visualization. Okay, you look at how data is visualized here on the screen. So it's a great tool. I don't know, because of this COVID statistics, data analytics has become the number one tool to report and find meaningful patterns. I want you to get into John Hopkins website, number one. Number two, I also want you to look into, there's a website called Reuters, Reuters news agency. You get into these two websites, you will know what data analytics is doing to COVID statistics. How a dry subject like statistics and data can be imported into Tableau and you can visualize. Third one is called Python. So R programming, Tableau public, and Python. So these are the three important data analytical tools, but don't worry about it. I would suggest, for most of the people who do not have knowledge of mathematics and statistics, I will suggest Tableau. Download the Tableau, and in my next session, I will let you know how to prepare a data set based on the important business question. What is the pain point in your department? Based on the pain point, what data should you collect? Based on what data you have collected in an Excel format, and download the Tableau, import the data set into Tableau, and make an analysis, add your insight, and then make a visualization. Ultimately, make a PowerPoint presentation. Tableau is such a great feature. It will make a PowerPoint presentation from you. You can automatically export the visualizations into PowerPoint. and then present it to your head of the department, or you can present it to your top. So this is all what the analytics can do. And please remember, for people who are not comfortable with Tableau, I can also suggest Excel. Excel has added so many features in the last 2 years. What all Tableau can do, Excel can also do, right from pivot tables, regression, logistic regression, inferential statistics. It will also do associative statistics. But please remember, we are using maybe 8 to 10% of Excel. If you can't afford a regular analytical tool, get into Excel and do it, no problem. Okay, now how do I get started on analytics? Now I know something about analytics. I want to do something. This is the pain point in my department. This is the pain point in my job. I want to get started, Swaroop. What should I do? So these are the steps. The 5 model of analytics. Ask the right question. The right question is not your curiosity. It should impact the business bottom line. If it does not impact the bottom line, that question is a wrong question. Number 2, check what data you have. Then if the data is not sufficient, collect additional data, make it into a data set, and then use the right tools, because I will use Python for some purpose. I may use Mindscape for some other purpose. I may use Tableau for visualization. So depends on the objective. Selection of the tool is important. Next, make sense of the tool and then put that tool to use. So this is how you will get started. And I want to end this with this quotation. I like this quotation very much. You don't need to be a data analyst to be curious. You just need that human urge to explore what goes on around you, or if you are presented with incongruity, can you use the data to try and explain? So please remember, knowledge of mathematics is not important. Knowledge of statistics is not important, because thank God we have analytical tools like Tableau and Excel. Don't worry about them. The biggest tool God has given you is sitting inside your 2 ears, between your 2 ears. Curiosity is very important. Why am I having this problem on my job? Let me collect the data. If I solve this problem, will the bottom line of my company improve? Let me get started. So that is very, very important. Keep your curiosity alive, collect data, identify, track data, derive meaningful insights, add your own experience, your own instincts, present it to the top management or your departmental head, and ultimately the company should come to a well-informed decision which will impact the bottom line, that is profits of the company. Thank you for a very patient hearing. Thank you very much.
Very nice presentation, sir. Now,
Welcome.
now before we go to question and answer session, I request Pradeep sir to add few lines.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Pradeep sir should speak.
No, this is absolutely a new area even for me, Swaroop, to make any comment. I only want, out of curiosity, many people ask me, but I was not having enough information to explain to them.
Yes,
In
sir.
2 minutes, can you explain how
sir.
does a personal manager from Bhadrachalam dealing with IR and labor problems and all, okay, evolved into a HR manager at head office, etc., and finally get into this kind of a, that also is a journey for us to learn from. Can you just in 2 minutes explain that?
Yes. First of all, the magic lies in three letters called ITC. Okay.
I
ITC made it possible.
ITC.
Okay. Now, when I was in Bhadrachalam handling IR, Pradeep sir and Sanjay sir has told, Swaroop, any new assignment, I am the first person to be selected. So, I am thankful to ITC, and it has provided me the springboard upon which I have embarked my career. And second thing I want to tell you, the domain knowledge is of utmost importance for you to build upon. Analytics cannot survive unless there is a foundation of domain knowledge. So, my advice to all the BCM managers is get your domain knowledge in place, and then please do not worry. I learned this statistics up to regression, logical regression online. I did not attend any course. I read it online thanks to the digital explosion that has happened in India. And then I should thank also my students who keep me on my toes all the time. I don't want to be, sound inadequate before my students. So I know what they are going to ask me. I'll be ready with it. So in other words, sir, number one, I am thankful to the company ITC. Number two, I am thankful for that domain foundation they have given me. And number three, I'm thankful to the students who have educated me.
So,
Thank you.
Swaroop, just to understand a little better, so what you're
Yes,
saying is your initial interaction with the students was with the traditional HR related tools.
Right.
And then you got into first HR analytics side, analytics for HR, and
Yes.
then you got into analytics in totality.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So
Okay,
what I did is,
yeah,
I did recruitment analytics first.
correct.
Then I did attrition analytics.
Okay.
In ITC, you don't call it analytics, but you are really
Right.
doing analytics actually.
Right. Okay.
But you don't call it. But
Yeah.
they were very, very interested that between the marriage of domain knowledge, industry experience, and these tools. These are the three.
Right. Very good. Yeah. So I think it's very inspiring. So anyway, Surya, we can go to the
Sir,
Q&A.
if anyone has any questions, because again the second 50 minutes also got expired now. We have only 4 minutes left. So if anyone has any question, please ask. I am arranging one more link now to deliver vote of thanks. Please unmute yourself. Please ask questions.
Yeah, I want to ask,
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Swaroop, can you hear me? Swaroop,
Yes.
business analytics is very good,
Right.
but it is entering personal domain.
Yes.
This is worrying to me.
Right. Okay. You have raised the question of privacy, right?
Yes.
Privacy is very, very important,
Mm.
especially in matters of HR analytics. Privacy is important. You have to draw a line, but when your behavior is digitized and then formulated into a data set and then imported into an analytical tool, then there are issues of some privacy.
Yes.
Yeah. So the top management, along with the HR head, has to assure, and these privacy concerns are very, very serious in the West. They have not yet impacted in India, but I will give you one example. In California, the business HR analytical program is devised in such a way that you feed in 3,000 CVs, it will shortlist 10 CVs in about 20 minutes time based on the algorithm that you have written and machine learning, and the person whose CV has not been selected by the machine, by the algorithm, went to the court in California and asked the
I
court,
see.
why did my CV not been selected? Right? And then the HR manager in the court has made a public statement, sir, I did not do, the machine has done it. Okay. And the judge asked, who wrote the algorithm for that program?